Okay, this is really great. We've just got so many people on the webinar today. Uh, Welcome everyone to the eSkill webinar, How to Use Skills Tests to Hire Candidates Who Fit Roles. I'm Sheila Clefcorn, Chief Marketing Officer for eSkill, and I'm proud to present this webinar today by our 2024 Talent Impact Leader, Leila Villalobos, Human Resources Manager at Red Mountain. So for those of you who've joined the webinar, you're probably asking yourself these questions. Are you struggling with hiring candidates who don't have the skills for the roles that you have posted? And do you know the cost and time impact of mishires for your organization? I'm excited about our webinar today because Leila has done a phenomenal job at Red Mountain Group, transforming its hiring process and success rate, leveraging eSkill's proven skills tests. Leila is amazing with over 7 years of experience as an HR team of one. She has directed involvement with recruiting, screening, hiring, and onboarding, among many other hats that she wears. In addition to being a workplace mental health ally and a certified working genius facilitator, Leila has also received her people manager qualification and SHRM CP. Leila is continually looking for ways to improve processes. She is energized by growth and learning and supports her team and organization in doing the same. She is truly phenomenal, one of our 2024 Talent Impact Leaders. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Leila, to tell a little bit more about your story at Red Mountain.
All right, thank you. So a little bit about Red Mountain. Red Mountain Group is a vertically integrated company where we turned distressed or blighted shopping centers into something that's more usable for communities. A lot of times, and it can vary in what we do. Sometimes it's just putting in new tenants. Sometimes it's rehabbing the whole center. But our capabilities as a company, we acquire properties. We do have dispositions as well, leasing, asset management, construction and development, property management, and the types of centers that we buy and sell and manage are all throughout the continental US. So we're not just located, I mean, our office is in California, but we have a lot of properties in California, Arizona, but we are spread all over the US. And I joined the company about actually almost 3 years now, and throughout my time here, we've had some. Sometimes it's easy fix or easy hire, and it works just fine. And in other roles, we have certain skills that are needed, and sometimes. Thank you. And sometimes too, when you're interviewing these candidates, a lot of times they can. Say that they have a certain skill level. Excel is probably one of the most common that we test for, as well as, Word and some other kind of skills. But especially with Excel, when we ask, like, what, are you familiar with this type of function, or what level are you? And they'll say, oh, I'm an expert, I can do X, Y, Z. And then once we hire them and they're in the role, we find out that that's not the case. So then at that point, we have to figure out, okay, is it worth spending the time to train this person for the skills that they should have had, prior to hiring them, or does it make more sense to find a replacement and start that search all over again? So either way, time can get lost if we don't find that right candidate initially. So next slide, please. So the solution that we found was eSkill, and it allowed us to more accurately test candidates for that skill level. The tests themselves are really quick to administer, makes it easy for candidates to complete them in the comfort of their own home, so that they're a little more relaxed when taking these assessments and can really truly show what they know. And then candidates are more of a fit skill-wise, and ultimately leads to more success in their role, and just a more successful hiring and onboarding process.
And Leila, can you talk a little bit about the kinds of skills tests that you're using on the eSkill Talent Assessment platform?
Yeah, so we do a mix of types of tests. So a lot of them are preloaded or preset, and but we've also combined them as well. So let's say we want different levels of Excel, which you have plenty of options to choose from. You can choose beginner Excel, intermediate, simulations. Sometimes we'll combine them as opposed to sending like 3 different emails and 3 different assessments. We'll combine them. And we can modify them as well to make sure that we're testing for certain functions, to make sure that they know how to use VLOOKUPs and know how to make arrays or things like that. So that's how we've used it specifically with Excel. We've also used a lot of proofreading and just Word, how to use Word, how to use how to use the different functions within it. I'd say those are the most common ones that we have used for various roles within our company. So eSkill has really allowed us to be more confident with our recruiting and onboarding process. So I tend to administer the skills or the assessments themselves. So I screen the candidate, assuming they meet those basic functions, then I would give them the assessment before they would even meet the hiring manager. So then once that hiring manager sees that candidate, is speaking to that candidate, they're already confident that that they have met those basics, that they have passed that assessment, that they do know what they say they know with those skills. So it's allowed us to be more thorough and then ultimately just more successful with finding those right candidates and getting them into those roles.
And in terms of feeling more confident, you feel more confident in the quality of the candidates or in the process, or tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I would say it's a combination of both. I'm more confident in the candidate, and then our hiring managers are more confident in the whole process. That it's not me just since I'm a team of one, it's just me filtering candidates. So they don't feel I'm just giving them a bunch of people to choose from. I'm giving them exactly what they need, that they have that right level of expertise. So yeah, I'd say it would be both.
And then you've decreased any kind of turnover because you're giving more qualified candidates, right?
Correct. And we're not losing that time having to retrain or having to find new candidates. The process itself and administering it, I tend to give candidates a couple days to complete the assessment, or if it's on a Friday, I give them the whole weekend. And so it really hasn't slowed down my process. It's not it doesn't bog down my process. It really just flows really nicely. And I've also gotten really good feedback from the candidates that take the assessments themselves, that they're really easy to access, really easy to do. So yeah, it seems like at least my experience with it has been really great from all sides.
That's great. So it sounds like you sped up the process. You
Yes.
had better results. So you've saved both time and money because you haven't lost money from mishires that didn't work out. And everybody involved in the process has said that it's been a good, easy process.
Agreed. Yes. And actually one other thing is, after they take the assessments, so the candidates themselves, you can allow them to see their results right away. And then there's different formats of seeing those results as well. So you can get all the detail if you want. You can get a summary. So that's made it really easy to just really, if you wanted to quickly look at, okay, here's maybe some of their weak points, or you're able to really drill down and see, okay, how much do they really know within a certain skill or certain function within those assessments. So I even like the reports. They're really easy and helpful.
That's great.
Yeah.
So just from a high level, why do you feel like eSkill really made the difference?
So it's made a difference for me and our company in quite a few ways, I would say. I mean, it's easy to implement. So it's not, you don't have to sit and go through a huge training program for myself in order to administer and understand how the platform works for me. It's really intuitive. It makes a lot of sense. So it's easy for me to be able to get these assessments out. It's easy for me to provide them to candidates. And it's easy for me to create and modify them however we need them. If I want to create a combination of an Excel and Word and Outlook, I can do that. I can, maybe I want to, test for Word, but I also want to make sure they know certain functions within Excel. So I can pull from different assessments to create my own. So we really have that flexibility to modify the assessments however we need to, depending on that role. Since we are a smaller company, even other positions tend to wear many hats as well. So maybe I don't need them to know just one function or just one aspect. I need them to, have a variety of knowledge, so I can test that if I need to. The eSkill also provides a very large library of assessments. I'm specifying Excel and Word and more administrative type functions, but there's a very large library of different assessments to choose from. It even gets as specific as different versions of Word or different versions of Excel, previous versions from Microsoft and things. So there's a lot to choose from, but it's not overwhelming. It's really, I don't want to make it seem like it's too much. It's the right amount. It's great to have the options so you can really get what you need. And then in addition to that, the support team is really helpful. If I have a question, maybe I can't find what I need, or whatever it may be, the response or the support team is very quick to answer, get back to me, quick to hop on a call if I need it. It's my experience with their customer service is really great. My one pet peeve, I would say, is you bring on a new service, and then they give you a new customer support person after implementation, and then that person isn't really helpful. That is not the case with eSkill. I've received great customer support the entire time we've been using the company. So really, really happy about that. And then in addition to that, eSkill just provides reassurance for all of us involved in the process that we are getting those right candidates, we are getting those right skills, and it just really helps flow within our current interview and hiring process. And everyone, it's been a great process for us, and everyone just feels a lot more comfortable and confident that we're getting the right people in the door. So so ultimately, it's been a very great experience for us.
That's great. Layla, thanks so much for sharing your story. We have a question about implementation. How long did it take you to get onboarded with eSkill?
To be honest, it was very quick. So once, and it fits your schedule. So it's not a long, I have to schedule an hour, a day of training to try to understand it. And once I expressed interest, it was really, when are you available? Here's what it can do. They showed me how the site would function, how I would go through, how I would modify an assessment, how I would send that out, how I would see the results. So really, it can be as quick as you want it to be.
That's great. And after you got onboarded and you started to put together some of these customizable skills tests with various questions from different versions, how long does it typically take you to put together an assessment or a skills test?
I'd say, to be honest, I don't know, but it doesn't take very long, because I've found, so what you can do as well is, let's say you're not sure which version, which Excel test you want to give. You can preview them and you can see those questions before sending it out. So, or you can see the topic that it covers as well. So so I can then go in and say, oh, I want question 2, 4, 7, and 10 of this assessment. I can go into the next assessment. So it kind of just depends on the position and what skills that hiring manager really wants to focus on. At this point now, I kind of have a default already set, and that's kind of what I use going forward. But I'd say initially, maybe 20 minutes, only because I'm going through all the questions. I want to make sure that makes sense to me, because if if it's difficult for me to understand, then it would be difficult for someone else. So, so yeah, really, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it does depend on how thorough or how in-depth you really want to be.
That's great. And what's been the reaction to your management across the company about this partnership?
Yeah, so everyone has really they just feel more comfortable and more appreciative, I think, because their time's not being wasted. They know that and to be honest, they don't even have to filter and ask those questions necessarily, because I've done that screening verbally. I've done that with the assessment. So then they can really focus on, is that person going to be a fit within my team? Is that person, how are they gonna function with more of those soft skills? So it saves them time as well. So so yeah, it's been good. It's been a great experience all around. Everyone's been really happy with it.
That's great. Well, thank you all for joining the webinar today. We value your time and your interest in eSkill. And Layla, we are so proud to have you as one of our 2024 Talent Impact Leaders. You've really made such a difference at Red Mountain Group, and we just love working with you here at eSkill.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much.
great
Really
day,
appreciate it.
everyone.